Yeah, he is.
Thank you.
Said his Submission.
Yeah. You can. It's not working.
Huh?
Usually it's all based.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Scott.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
It's 8:30. We're just missing one person, but he should be here hopefully shortly. Welcome to the February 18th Park and Tree Committee meeting in Sweet Home. And so the first thing we'll do is call the meeting to order and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Mom. You're my cues.
All right, Angela, you want to do the roll call for us? Member Bechtel,
Present.
Member Tucker, present, Member Patton,
Here.
Member Jones,
Here.
Member Swanson, not yet, and Member Northern.
Here.
You have a quorum, correct? Yes, we do. Missing one. Time report. So everybody, I turned in our time report for our January tree plant. Trees we planted at Northside and Sankey. So Angela has those. If y'all have anything else.
I have one.
And just a reminder, if we can, again, start using these forms, it's easier for me to track. So I appreciate it. And if you need more, just come ask me and I'll print some
Okay.
more off for you. And let it be known that Scott Swanson is now here.
Sorry.
Nope, we knew you were coming. Okay, next on the agenda, review our meeting minutes from our January 21st meeting in your packet. So take a moment and take a look.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded.
You have one typo in there.
We have
that I
a
saw.
typo. Okay.
Second paragraph of old business. You have Vice Tucker instead of vice.
Okay.
Good.
Like that chat. Forbidden thing.
Where is it?
Yes.
Second paragraph.
Just a misspelling. All right, so I have noted that and I will get it changed.
Yeah, I have Vice on mine. How do I get the right one?
You all should have the same one.
Right.
It does. It says VIC Vice.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Vice, Micah.
Second.
Oh, that one. Oh, you said, I thought you said, okay.
Okay. Mine is the wrong one. Okay.
Okay.
I'm only.
All right, everybody in favor of approving our minutes with the one edit to the spelling, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have approved meeting minutes for January. Public comment. Do we have anybody in the room or online that wishes to make a comment?
We do not.
To Candy Snyder for beautification committee update. I see somebody's been busy out there. That was beautification.
It was the
City's
Public
been doing
Works guys put in the fish, so that happened, what, about a week ago, I think? Yeah. So those look really good, I think. And then I ordered the flowers from Bauman Farms. I talked with Cecily before I ordered, and then after I got the quote, she approved it. We're getting 32 large city baskets, 2 smaller ones for the Chamber of Commerce, and then a 1575 petunias, 4-inch pots of petunias in red, white, and blue. And so the total is about $6,700 for that. The price of the baskets went up a little bit, about $5 a basket. We also get $10 back when we return those baskets to Bauman's Farms. So that'd be at the very end, like in September, October. Also, the delivery date is May 18th. The planting dates are May 19th and 20th. We'll do the 19th, we'll do the median, and the 20th, we'll do Shea Point, Fern Ridge, and Clover Park. And I think the main thing I was worried about was getting a blue that would work. And since the petunias will be red, white, and blue, and we're going to get, it's called Night Sky, and it's a real deep kind of indigo with little tiny dots of white in it, but that's about the truest you can get for blue with a petunia. So I had some last year and they're really, really nice. So that's about all I have.
And
We're
just,
gonna,
oh, go ahead.
we're gonna hope to meet next month. We'll start meeting again. Our committee hasn't been meeting over the holidays and the winter.
And just to give an update about the fish. So the fish in the median was spearheaded by the Arts and Culture Committee. And then the fish were made by the Sweet Home High School class. And then the Public Works Department secured them in concrete and placed them. So they look great.
Good job.
They do look good.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, the patina, we'll give them a
Yeah.
nice look. Anything else, Candy? Right. Moving right along to old business. More details on our Arbor Day Blooms and Brews event.
Yep,
like
and
this
just a
now.
reminder, it's April 25th. We have started, we're almost done kind of with the logistics, getting the vendor handbooks out and figuring out setup. We've reached out to a couple vendors. Actually, ODF sent me an email asking if we would want their participation in our Arbor Day event. So I filled out their application. Haven't received anything back yet, but we could have ODF as having a booth alongside Park and Tree Committee. So we'll see how that works out. And then we will be reaching out. Vendors for this event are going to be very specific to blooms or brews. So this won't be an all-reaching kind of vendor. It's going to be very specific themed vendoring. And that's as far as we've gotten so far. So Adam and I are going to work on the logistics this week and hopefully get all that completed. And then we'll start sending out more advertising. So.
Do you still have the contact info from the Pacific Power
I do.
person?
Mhm.
Maybe it'd be good to have him back, kind of more on the trees and power lines a little,
Mhm.
because we did that last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can reach out to
And
him.
he had some great handouts for people.
Mhm.
Plus gave us gift certificates.
Plus he gave us gift certificates.
So are we planting trees? Doing anything that day?
Nope, because we planted our trees
Early.
last month in the winter.
Okay.
And with hopes that we'd get some rain.
And I think I told you that I spoke to the Arbor Day Foundation and they were fine with that we don't have to plant on the day. And they understood the reason, I mean, they say a lot of people do that, just because of planting
Because
season.
of-
And the fact that we are probably going to have a really dry year, it was probably better to do that this year specifically. So,
The good thing is we have pictures and proof that we did it. And then kind of like last year, we can kind of gather around the new trees that were planted there and say a few words in
Mhm.
honor of Arbor Day and tree care. So.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to guess the weather for April 25th. This winter's been all over the board. Okay, Sankey Park Phase 3.
we are finalizing the contract for the trail construction, hopefully to get that back from the contractor fairly soon. And then we are narrowing down the design and contract for the bandstand. Hopefully that'll be here in the next couple weeks. So, and we'll be, as soon as weather permitted, hopefully construction will start.
Do you have a picture of the bandstand?
Not yet.
And so with the design and contract for the bandstand, then the engagement with the Timber Framers Guild.
So we are going a different direction. We are not using the Timber Framers Guild, just because of cost and the logistics required from staff for that. It would have been a great project, but they have a lot of requirements of us that we just can't afford. And so we had to go a different direction, which is why we're figuring out. We're still, keeping in contact with them for maybe some future projects now that we know what the logistics are and our responsibilities on our end. But for this project where the engineering for the trail alone came in at probably 4 to 5 times what it was estimated. And so we just don't have the funding to go down that road, unfortunately. And again, I received the extension, but this has to be done by the end of June.
Yeah.
So we just don't have the time to try to find any more money for this. So
But you have a good contact with the Timber Framers Guild, so maybe smaller projects.
yeah, one of the Timber Framers Guild members actually lives here in Sweet
Okay.
Home. And so, and he still wants to kind of keep in touch and maybe be a part of the project once it gets going, not as a timber framer guild, but just as
Yeah.
a local citizen. So,
Okay.
yeah, we still talk on a very regular basis. So,
It sounds like we are moving forward, so getting closer. And then Ames Creek planting update. That was in early February.
that got done. I wasn't able to go out there, but do you guys have, I know the New Era took some great photos of it. So thank you, Scott. Any of you guys? It looked like it was successful. Oh, you gotta turn your microphone on.
There was a lot of participation.
I think we planted 1,600 plants Thursday and they came back Friday and did the rest. I think there was 2,500 overall. Does that sound right?
That sounds like about right.
Went good.
And the Watershed Council told me there was students, a class from the high school that also assisted. So,
Quite a few, actually.
mhm.
So I apologize I wasn't there. Tyson, he just got out of the hospital this week for being there for 6 days. So he's been a very, very, very sick boy since January. So I feel bad. Anyway, but I was thinking about you guys.
There was plenty of help.
Yeah. I'm sure he didn't miss my help. Sorry.
No, we did, but we were able to function.
Did you plant outside the tarped area or just holes through the tarp?
Everything, I guess it'd be to the south
Oh,
in the woods, basically along the creek and then up the bank along the road behind the senior center. So everywhere that wasn't tarped, we planted pretty much.
And was the plan for the tarp to stay through the summer season to kind of smother out the really bad
Yep. Yeah.
weeds?
And
Okay,
then that would be planted next year.
next year. Okay, cool. That'll look great out there.
Yeah.
All right, ready to move on to new business. Strawberry?
Yeah, so after our last meeting, I did touch base with the executive staff because there's a lot of things that staff work on that Park and Tree Committee aren't involved in, but they relate to parks. So I got a little bit of an update on some of these things that are behind the scenes. So Strawberry Park, we did not receive the grant for that. So they're going to be looking for other funding. That's not a project that's going away. We just have to look for other funding sources for that. So that's still on the list of priorities. It just, we have to wait till we can find some funding for that one. We're in, budget season right now, so they're working through all the funding for next year, and we'll see what pans out.
Can you refresh our memory of what the grant focus was for Strawberry?
It was going to have to do with the drainage, so creating the pond for the
Pond.
drainage and then some trail systems around there. So it was a project that we had talked about years ago. Actually, I was on the watershed council at the time and came in, they brought us in for some, plant species and some different design aspects of it. So, but it's still a priority. We have to figure out what to do with the drainage of that park before we really do too much. So,
Yeah, yeah. To City Hall Park.
so staff is working on a grant opportunity for an accessible fitness park.
Ah.
So, I'm not sure when, we're supposed to hear back from that. I forgot to ask about that, but that is a grant and that is a plan for here in our little area.
So Angela, that money that was donated before, just for the city park, did we ever use that
Donated for which park?
out here?
It wasn't money. They were going to donate equipment.
Equipment.
And
Hmm.
COVID came and things weren't able to get ordered, so that never happened. So they're going a different direction.
Also, just a bit of an update on the grant for next door. So Cecily just let me know that we did get that grant and it will go to council next week.
Next door.
Yeah, City Hall.
Do you know how much it was for?
I don't know.
And that's for equipment, basically.
Yeah.
Nice.
35,000
Hmm,
for equipment.
nice. Get some decent equipment for 35,000.
It
But-
doesn't go as far as you think it would.
I know.
So can I go back to my comment though? So, but what was that money used for? Because I know you said it was during COVID, but.
We didn't
it's
get
still
money. There
available?
was a promise of, we never received money. There was a potential donor and then potential equipment donor. So we never received anything. There was just a potential of us getting.
It was all talk.
Yeah, money never actually showed up.
Mhm. Then part of it was because we couldn't get the equipment, and so they weren't going to donate the money if we weren't able to do the park the way that it was going to be planned. So. And we weren't the ones ordering the equipment, so.
I'm just thinking about timing for some of these things. So, I mean, if we have a grant in hand for City Hall Park, potentially that could be moving along.
And they'll time it based on staff
staff
availability.
work and everything.
Yeah, priority right now, it will be Sankey Park
Yeah,
until that's
thank you.
done.
So, I mean, just thinking into the future, as these park projects come to completion, wonderful opportunities for public outreach, a celebration day.
So up on the screen is National Fitness Campaign. This is who the grant came from. So that is an example of what it could look like. I don't know if we know exactly what ours will entail yet, but National Fitness Campaign, if you go to their website, you can see some examples.
This grant doesn't expire, right? We've been approved and we can spend it when we want it, when we're ready. We don't have a
I don't
window.
have that information.
Okay.
I am not the one that put in the grant, so, so I don't have that. And at the time that I did these notes, we hadn't received it yet, so.
You mean you have plenty to do?
Just flip it.
Okay, and Quarry Park.
Yeah, staff is exploring potential recreation options with partners. We don't have anything to bring to public yet, but we're trying to identify some funding for the 24th Avenue Railroad Crossing upgrade. Expected to be 2 to 3 million. For a larger corridor is estimated at 65 million, so it's not exactly, you know, a small chunk of change to be able to do that. So, and a lot of our use of Quarry Park is reliant on us being able to use that 24th Avenue corridor. So Cova is not a large enough road in order to have more traffic down there. So, but we are exploring some options. So we'll see how that turns out in the next year or so.
Questions on that one? Feeding and general upkeep of our parks.
So this is a priority going into this year. We have plenty of needs in our existing parks. We're not going to be focusing on much new development like 42nd Osage. And we're not going to put money into non-city owned properties. So a lot of the focus this year, as we talked about in priorities, is just maintaining our parks, assisting public works, kind of like beautification committee does. And just, I think you guys came up with a great plan to, pick a park and focus on that park. So that's also an executive priority this year. So it aligns with their goals. So.
Threatened and endangered species, new one on our list.
Yeah, so executive team asked me to kind of bring this up. They asked if it would be very helpful if someone could help us track down and document what threatened and endangered species have been identified here and where, and what additional restrictions those bring within the city limits. Like we already know Lomation is in Hobart, but if we could figure out, if there's any other ones in here, that would be helpful. Staff is already overwhelmed with work, but this is something that affects us when it comes to land use. And so that would be helpful if anybody's willing to take that on. It's not something that's an emergency, but it would.
Angela, how would a person go about doing that?
There are different, I think ODFW has information on their website. There's different contacts. It's been a while, but I'm sure I can find old contacts and some of the documentation that I have that might have whether these people are still working or not. I don't know, but at least their departments are probably still there.
Okay.
So part of the challenge for staff is this list changes all the time. ODFW has a list, OSU has a different list, DSL has a minimal list. The state has a different list than the feds, and they all count. Angela and I were sent a list a couple weeks ago, and there's a lot of species that are on there that I wouldn't have thought of. And so it's just really time consuming to keep up with. It's not just mammals, but there's a separate amphibians list. There's a bug list. That one's hard, but there were multiple species of dragonflies that are now threatened and being watched. And that kind of stuff's really hard for us to track. So any help we could get would be greatly appreciated.
Are you looking for help from the public or from just this group here?
Well, specifically, if one of you are willing to kind of be the folk, the spearhead, and if you can get assistance from volunteers, that would be great. But having one point of contact, being one of you, would be beneficial to us.
Well, stepping aside from my position here, I could maybe put a little story together.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and
There's
it's
people
not
like
something,
Rich Littles,
Yeah.
people there's other people like him out there,
yeah, and it's not something that has to be decided today. It's just something to think about, and anybody's willing to take that on, or if you find someone in the community that would be a great person to take that on, then, you can send them our way and we can have that discussion. So.
There's a spatial GIS program that I used years ago, and it was something ODF and OSU jointly developed, and I think it's still in play.
I think we used it for the Watershed Council, but I don't know if I have access to it
was
anymore.
called Biodiversity Explorer. Yeah, let me do some digging, because that gives you a good, if it's still in play and updated, it gives you a good spatial, so you could look at the overlay for Hobart or, Sankey or,
Mhm.
Quarry Park. You could actually start narrowing down the potential. But I can't remember the name exactly, so I'll go do some digging.
Okay.
And then let's kind of keep talking about this at future meetings as we kind of think about it and find resources and interest. And if we end up with a story, that'd be exciting. Thank you, Scott.
I could do that.
There just might be some retired people that would think that'd be great.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, to the other end of the spectrum, from threatened and endangered to emerald ash borer, which
So yeah, we have a couple of our public works department, and I don't are going to attend the EAB public work class. It for tree trunk injection workshop. So a few of them will be attending that here shortly. So
Can anyone attend that?
I think so. But I think you have to be certified to be able to inject the trees. I'm not positive. I haven't done the class, so I'm not sure how that works, but I
If you
can
want
send
to go just to learn, that'd be okay.
I can send you information.
Yeah, I think that would be good when you come back with a report. I see people all the time that their trees, they've fallen down or whatever, and they got all that empty stuff inside at the trunk. And it's fallen over.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, there's a reason for that.
the trees rotted. Died. No, so this is a continuation of, we talked about the emerald ash borer kind of prevention plan.
Yeah.
And our folks can have the ability to treat the trees on their own. And now that we've found some
That's
classes and how to do it, so, yeah. And then we also talked about kind of our plan for doing prevention on some of the key ash species that we don't want to die, like the really big one at Clover and the ones along the post office with Long Street and 12th Street, I think there. The one at Northside we looked at, we have some key ones that are either in parks or on the streets that, be nice to keep. So, and then Hobart, which is full of ash, is kind of, might just have to be on its own. That's a lot of trees. But yeah, thank you guys for going to a class. And I think that's it for new business. Anything else on our agenda?
Yes, I have a
Oh, yes.
couple things for roundtable. We have had several applicants apply for the open position. Admin and finance will be scheduling a meeting soon to make a decision and vote on the candidates. So hopefully we will be having our 7th seat filled fairly soon. And then there's also a possible schedule change for these meetings. So in an effort to keep all the city committees consistent, Park and Tree Committee meetings are going to be moved to the afternoons. This is all committees are in the afternoons at 4 o'clock. So we don't need to make a decision today. But just think about, the two options that we have are either the first or third Tuesday of the month at 4 o'clock. So this scheduling, will align with all the other committee schedules, as well as, it will help staff, with better planning, so it doesn't run into other meetings that we have. So, we're just trying to get everything aligned to be, the same.
Mhm.
So again, it doesn't have to be done today. That decision doesn't have to be done today, but just something to think about.
Did you say Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 or Tuesdays or?
No, it'll be the first or third Tuesday.
First or third.
So the first and third Thursdays are planning commission meetings, so we have multiple other meetings that we have to schedule around, so,
Okay.
and that's all other additional information that I have.
So you had something for roundtable?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted, so Angela, can you go ahead and talk about the pie contest again, since I looked back at my notes, and so what you told me and what I had written down are different, so just inform us.
Yeah, so Harvest Festival in general, we'll start reaching out to donors in the next couple months. I'd like to have sponsors and donors. The commitment and the funding by the end of June is ideal, end of July is probably the latest, because it's really difficult for me to purchase items and plan if the funding isn't there. And so that's the goal. So if you have people interested in sponsoring the Pie Bake Off, have them reach out to me and we can have a conversation. And but again, I will start sending out forms. We've been working on the Blooms and Brews, the Arbor Day, trying to focus on that and get that ready to go. And then I'll start working on our other events for the year. So.
So I think when we had talked about this before, all of us, we talked about maybe that even us or families and friends could get the money together to sponsor it. I think we figured $10 a pie. We needed $200, $300. I still would like to work that direction.
Do you want to take that on, kind of get the word out and see what you
I
can
can
come
do
up-
that.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're a great fundraiser. I will kick in. I will sponsor one pie. I'll kick in
Yay.
$10. How's that?
So are you
Two.
limiting the amount of pies again? I forgot to ask you that. I know one time we had way too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna do the same thing as 2 max, unless we want to go 1 max. I mean, you guys are the ones that have to serve them. In that one year, we had
like
so many, it was
had a lot.
24, 26 pies was
Yeah.
like way too much.
So I would welcome your feedback on that, how you want to limit it, because we do have families that will get all of their kids and siblings, and then you end up with 10 pies just from one family. So it's up to you. I mean,
Yeah.
I will take your suggestions
Let's-
before we go to post
Let's
that.
think about that. I mean, I like the idea that a family,
Mhm. No, and they
That's-
can still do, 1 pie per each one. But if you had a mom and 4 kids that did 2 pies each one, I mean, that, that's ends up with a lot. So, and we want to encourage,
Yeah.
a lot of pie, but we also want it to be a manageable competition for the judges
The
too.
judges, yeah.
So even little bites add up.
Yeah.
So-
and they try to make them small.
We
Mhm.
try.
So I will
Yeah.
appreciate your feedback on that. I mean, we're not ready to post any of that yet, so just in the next couple meetings, we'll kind of make that decision.
So just looking ahead to our March meeting, so start some preparation for Blooms and Brews and kind of what our booth looks like and things like that. Looking at the dates.
And we will be figuring out kind of the logistics of the whole thing. We'll be creating a schedule because we will still do the proclamation, and that'll be the formal part of it.
Yeah.
We will still be doing all of that. So
Okay. Did you say you were going to have food vendors there? I can't, or
there will be some food, beverage. We're hoping to have a band, but it's not going to be, like a
Oh.
loud
yeah.
band. It'll be more kind of a mellow situation. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot more
Okay.
activity going on.
Like fun.
Yeah, it
And then
does.
the
Look forward.
beautification committee, they would be
Yeah.
in our area too, like in the past.
Yes, so we'll probably put all of the bloom type
Mhm.
vendors kind of around the Arbor Day vendors. So like I said, we're still working on how we're going to lay everything out because we also have to consider for the food and beverage vendors where the electrical outlets are. And so we will be arranging around that situation. So that's what we're working on right now is figuring out how we will do that placement and then we will work the other booths around that. So there's a little bit to think about. So it's going to be a little bit different. So, but after many years of doing Harvest Festival,
This is easy.
this is like I already have a template. It's just scaling it down and consolidating it because we will maybe be started construction by that time. So we need to, so we're going to try to stay in the northern side of the park.
So I forgot I should have asked when Candy was talking, but so I know you told us before you wanted us to pull weeds and things like that. So around the flagpole in Sankey Park, I know when we've been there before, it's pretty bad. So if we just do the weeds, then are we going to plant flowers there too, or how's that going to
Quite
work?
possibly. It wouldn't be beautification committee that would do that. So they have their areas that they would be doing. So that is something that we will talk about just, we did put flowers in for Harvest Festival last year. And so whether we want these to be, perennials, whether we're going to do annuals every year, I don't know. But it's a matter of we need to maintain them first, and then we can talk about planting. So that's just, we haven't gotten that far in the discussion yet about how we want to work out this maintenance plan. We don't want to make it more maintenance.
Right.
So we want to minimize the amount of maintenance that we have to do. So, and watering. So that's another portion of it. So we can discuss that goes. Right now, we're just kind of looking at the maintenance part of it, and then we can talk about planting later, depending on resources. So.
So if we pull weeds and stuff, then what, we just chat together or what? Decide a day to go do it?
Well, that's what you guys had talked about at the last meeting, is that you would come up with a schedule and choose parks and which park you would work on and what date. And then what we would do is, create a pile and we let Public Works know and they'll come pick it up. So,
Miss Chairperson, I wanted to mention that at the Sankey Park where the flagpole is, there's some bricks we
Mhm.
noticed are coming out off the top part there. So I don't know, vandalism or what it is, but you guys probably saw it too. Pretty sure Sean did.
that's all I had.
Worried about fires this year since we've had such a
Mhm.
lack of rain. Can't really do anything about it here, so.
Could be an interesting summer. So once again, water bags on our new and newer trees. Because it could be a dry one.
So I guess I do have one more thing. So since Wally's stepped down, are you going to have something at city council like we did with Bob? Give him a thank you or whatever.
I haven't talked to Wally about it. That was the plan in December, but we had to cancel everything. So, at some point, yeah, I'll have a conversation with Wally about that. So I know he was planning to take some trips and some
Mhm.
time. So we just haven't circled back around for that.
And we have some other committees that had some members, long-term members step down. So we're trying to do a coordinated thing that encompasses all of the committees and the people. So
Well, we were supposed to take him out to lunch after the tree planting, but he had to leave early, so he missed lunch. So I told him lunch is still on me if we can find him. Maybe when ski season's over. Yeah, I know.
It's starting to snow, so he'll probably.
Well, that's it. Yeah, ski season's just now starting, so he and Roman will be out and about. All right. Anything else? Winter is returned and we're all ready to kind of go back and hibernate.
Let it snow up there in the mountains.
I'm amazed at how much yard work I did in January.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem right. All right. If there's nothing else for this group, let's adjourn at 9:08.
Thank you. Thank you.